Let's talk about interface. Let me create one class. Interface demo 1. Okay, so now in abstract classes, what we did is we created abstract method as well as non-abstract method, right? But the first point in interface is uh, all methods should be abstract. Okay, and in latest version of Java, we can use non-abstract methods as well, like default, and there is one more method, I don't remember the name. Default and static, I believe. I'm not confirmed though. Default and static. So if I write some methods with these kind of privileges, default or static, then I am good to use these methods inside the interface. But by default, if I say it as interface, it should have all methods as abstract methods. Okay, so let's see. So I'm going to create some abstract methods. I'm going to copy the same method from here. I'm going to copy all of these, in fact. Okay, let me copy all of this and let me paste it over there, and let's see if I get any error for implemented methods. Okay, so the very first thing is when I write any method as abstract method into my class, okay, it says the abstract method deposit can only be defined by an abstract class. Okay, so it says me either make this interface demo as abstract or remove the abstract modifier from this method. So I can make this class as abstract class. Yes, I can do, right? And the error is gone, right? And now you see the error is gone for all, right? But instead of abstract, now I want to make it as interface, right? And when I make it as interface, why I'm not able to work with interfaces today? Okay, it should not be public if it is interface, it should not be class if it is interface, it should be interface and name of my interface. Yeah, so and it should be void. So this is how we create interface. So I should not write public and whatever I wrote over here, public and abstract and class, I should not write, because abstract is a class but interface is not a class. So it's a simple interface. Okay, interface followed by interface name and followed by non-implemented methods. And I had one implemented method as well, welcome to all, and do you see it says abstract methods do not specify a body. Okay, and it says change welcome all to default and change welcome all to static. Either remove the body. So as I said, in the latest versions it supports default and static implementation. So if I make this specific method as default, it is going to work. Okay, so we do not work with this default and static methods, okay, because the purpose of interface is to hide the implementation detail. Okay, so I'm going to remove this method, and so the point here is all methods should be abstract methods. Okay, and do you see, even I didn't get any error for this main method. Why? Because it has a static keyword, and this Java supports static and default, right? I have some abstract sorry, I have some interfaces, I have some interface, and in that interface I have some unimplemented methods. The point here is all methods should be abstract. Okay, interface in Java provides the way to achieve abstraction. Yes, Java interface is also used to define a contract for subclasses to implement. Yes, that's what the contract to subclass to implement. So if I say my RBI is the interface, okay, so RBI has signed a contract with all the banks to implement all these unimplemented methods, right? That's what I have mentioned over here. Is Java interface is also used to define a contract for subclass to implement. That means wherever I am implementing this interface, those methods should implement all these unimplemented methods, right? That's what the contract to subclass, contract for subclass to implement. They should implement it if they want to use. Otherwise, they can make. I'll show you that. Okay, and Java, in a few points in interface, we can't instantiate an interface in Java, like how we can't instantiate interface in Java. The same way, we can't instantiate, we can't create object of interface. Interface provide 100% abstraction, right? We cannot have concrete methods. Interface can't have constructors because we can't instantiate them, and interface can't have methods with body. Okay, so if you go to abstract class, okay, I should be able to create constructor in abstract class. So if I do abs1 and constructor, you see I'm able to create abstract class constructor. This is again one of the difference basically in between your abstraction and inheritance. I can create abstract method, abstract classes, sorry. So we can create constructor in abstract classes, though we cannot see when this constructor will be used. Constructor will be used when I create instance of this class, right? But I cannot create instance of abstract class, right? So I feel there is no need of abstract classes, but this, sorry, abstract constructor, but this constructor will get invoked whenever I, so this abs1, how I am using this abs1, I am just extending this abs1 here, and whenever I create object of this abs implementation, okay, so if I execute this method now, I should see the constructor from my, can you see this abs1 constructor is getting called, right? So even if I cannot create instance of this abs1, so I feel that okay, this abs1 will not be used because I cannot construct, I cannot create object, and when I create object, then only constructor will get invoked. But if I extend this abs1 into abs1 implementation, right, so what will happen is this, whenever I create object of his child class, then constructor of parent class will also get executed. That's what we saw earlier when we were talking about um, inheritance. Okay, so here you see this abs1 constructor is getting called, but if I try and create the constructor here in interface, I see I do not get any suggestion, right? So that means I cannot create a constructor inside a interface. Okay, so by default any attribute in Java is public static final, uh, by default. So even if I don't write anything public, okay, it does not worry. By default it is public static and final. By default the interface methods are abstract and public. Even if I don't write public and abstract, if I simply write void withdrawal, it will work because by default they are abstract and public. An interface can't extend any class, but it can extend another interface. Now we need to understand. So okay, before that point, let us see how to use this interface, how to use these methods from interface. Okay, so I'll call this interface demo, where it is. I have created interface demo 2. Okay, and I'm not going to create it as an interface. Basically I'm going to create it as a public class. Okay, and interface demo 2, and I'm going to remove this all abstracted methods. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to implement all these methods which are present in interface demo. Okay, so what I'll do is I will write something like, so okay, so when I wanted to use the methods from abstract class, what I used extends keyword, because in abstract class I have implemented plus non-implemented methods, right? But in interface I have all non-implemented methods, so I'll be using implements keyword instead of extends. Implements, and what it should implement, it should implement interface demo 1, right? And I get some suggestion now, and the suggestion says add all unimplemented methods. Okay, so I can add all unimplemented methods, and I can use all these methods over here, right, on the similar way. So for example, okay, let us say I don't want to implement this deposit method over here. Okay, so I'm going to delete this deposit method from here now, and I get some error. Okay, and what this error says, the error says either add unimplemented methods or make the type as abstract, right? So if I make this class type as abstract, can you see now? Now I made this interface demo2 class as abstract, because you know that in abstract it can contain my non-implemented methods as well, right? So even if you don't see that deposit method, but the deposit method is present virtually over here, because I'm implementing interface demo1, right? So whenever you will create object of this class, those methods will come over here, right? So if you don't want to implement any methods, you need to either make it as an interface or make it as a abstract class, right? But if you don't want, if you want to implement all methods, if you want to implement in a class, you need to add all unimplemented methods, right? So if you don't want to use few, like let us say if you don't want to use withdrawal, don't write anything in that, let it be, let it empty. Okay, but you should implement all like this. We should be overriding all, we should be implementing all. That's how we use the methods from interface. Okay, so this is how basically the interface concept works. And the difference in between abstract class and interface, which we already talked like mostly. So abstract class is something, in abstract class we can have the very first point is abstract keyword, and interface we have interface keyword. In interface we do not need a public, right? uh, and in abstract we can have abstract as well as non-abstract method, whereas in interface we have to have all abstract methods, right? In abstract class we can create a constructor of abstract class, we cannot create any constructor of interface. uh, okay, so this is the basic difference in your abstract class and interface. So yeah, and also we need to use, when you want to use the abstract methods from abstract class, you can use extends keyword, whereas if you want to use the methods from interface, you need to use implements keyword over here, and you need to implement all the methods. If you don't want to implement, then you can make this class as well as abstract class, and you can then extend this class to another one, so that you can use it somewhere. But wherever you want to use it, anywhere you want to use, you need to implement those methods.